quick story about this guitar. I used this on a Blue Oyster Cult show where we had to open for Deep Purple.
Oh, cool.
And I was playing it, and he walked into our dressing room, and he pointed to me, and I said, well, this is embarrassing.
Oh, that's a good thing.
No, he said, this is really cool. Yeah. And then he goes, oh, what do you got there? I said, I have a D-tune. He said, how'd you do that with the floating?
Yeah.
I said, oh, I blocked it off. And then he went, and he walked out of the room, and I lost whatever cool points I had earned with Steve Morse.
Now, is it true that you guys ended up wrestling in the hallway after that?
Yeah, it was. I don't want to talk about that. Let's move on.
All right, everybody. Well, here we are in beautiful Carteret, New Jersey at the Performing Arts Center. We got Richie Castellano with the Band Geeks.
Hey there.
And he's got, we don't have Jon Anderson, but that's okay because we're here to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, let's go through the rig rundown. Let's get an idea of what you're using for the shows.
Sure.
For those who don't know, these guys are going to be putting on a show spanning the years of Yes and Jon Anderson. Are you doing any solo songs of his as well?
Well, we're doing songs from our new album, Jon Anderson, the Band Geeks, True, and we'll be doing some material from that.
Okay.
Along with his classic stuff that he did with Yes.
And side 2 of Elias Sunhillo.
Of course.
Yes, everyone's favorite. Awesome. So we'll start with, let's take a look at the rack, and you can kind of run us through what you're using there.
Yeah, I pared this down a little bit from last year, just trying to be more mobile and easier on the crew guys. This is my rack. This is where everything's coming from. We have a Radial 1. See, now I can't see it. So we have a Radial Power 1 for my power conditioner. Next is the Matrix GT 1000 FX. This is the power amp, and it's just a clean Class D power amp, just to amplify the Helix, going to the 4x10 Ampeg cabinet. Then under that, I have a Helix rack. That's where everything's coming from. That's where the bass sounds come from, the guitar sounds. And then under that, Roland, this is an old one, a vintage piece, a nice Roland JV 880. Now, I bought my first JV 1080 at Victor's House of Music.
Good answer.
That's right, I did.
Yeah.
And just stay in that tradition. This is the one rack version of that. And this is great. This is supposed to be, out of the whole JV series, I did my internet research because the internet's never wrong.
No, of course
right?
not.
And supposedly, this is the fattest sounding one with the best bass sounds.
Oh.
So I figured that's a perfect thing to have.
And it's all digital.
All digital, yeah.
But it's still got the low end.
Yeah, it's got the low end, and that's just being triggered MIDI over here on the pedals.
So why did you choose that for your cab? Is that just to cover guitar and bass? It was just a nice middle ground? Or?
I mean, I'm okay with having a silent stage, but sometimes it's nice to feel a little bit. And I know Jon wants to hear some volume on stage. So, I mean, we have side fills usually at the gigs, but it's nice to get hit in the back of the pants
for some air
with a little something. Yeah, so that does the job. It's plenty loud. And yeah, I run the guitar and the bass through there. And when I run the guitar through it, I have an EQ curve in the Helix programmed for when I play guitar, just to compensate, to make it sound less bass ampy.
Sure. So can we talk about the Helix unit for just a minute? Yeah. I mean, it's a really powerful unit that has to cover a lot of ground for you, obviously, over the course of your set.
It does everything I need it to, and more, because of the Variax.
So with the presets that you created, I assume?
Yeah.
Are you going to try to mimic the specific gear that they use when creating those replicated sounds? Or are you more focused on, if I can get the tone, that's satisfactory? Okay,
with the Chris Squire type of sound that I'm going for, I actually posted it on Line 6 custom tone, so it's free. If you have a Rickenbacker bass or you want to get that sound, I have 2 versions. I have a mono and a stereo version.
Okay.
Because I am emulating the signal chain.
Yep.
I have one path that is the neck pickup of the Rickenbacker going into an Ampeg SVT Pro, which is what Chris Squire used. And then the bridge pickup is going into a Marshall, an old Marshall JVM. So a guitar amp.
Right.
And that's how you get the grind. And the split between those two, if they're mixed properly, should sound right. And I send front of house both pickups. So the front of house guy can always blend the difference between neck and bridge, or, you know, woof and grind.
Got it.
And also I have all the effects. If I want to put a chorus or a tremolo or a phaser, most of the time those go on the bridge pickup, just so the low end stays intact the whole time.
Yep.
There are some instances where we'll do reverb in the middle, close to the edge, for example, where there's all the ambient stuff. Then reverb goes on both pickups.
Okay.
But it's cool because I can decide which pickup I want the effects on. It's very flexible. So for that, I did mimic the original equipment, the original rig. For the guitar stuff, I just did it by ear. And I also found that in doing my research, whenever Trevor Rabin plays live, the guitar sounds aren't exactly like the record.
Okay.
He sort of modified them just to a more comfortable spot instead of trying to emulate it.
Right.
So that's what I did. I basically said, let me find a sound that I like that makes me excited about playing.
Right.
You know, and also I've used Helix with Blue Oyster Cult for the last decade.
Yeah, you're a power user by now.
Yeah. And so I know what amps I like. I said, let me get a good dirty sound, a good clean sound that I like, and then tweak them a little bit just to get the effects I need for the specific songs.
Okay.
So they're basically my sounds, but adapted for these songs.
And when you're building the sounds, do you start off in like your own home studio with headphones? Are you doing it through a cab? Are you doing it through studio monitors? Like
I do it through studio monitors. I have Genelex, and I just got the IK multimeter, the ARC.
Yep.
And that's actually helped my guitar tones a lot because I'm not getting as much woof as I was getting in low end.
Can you explain what the ARC is?
The ARC is a auto room correction, and it comes with this little microphone that is for room calibration, and you put it in 27 different spots around where your head would go, and it then applies an EQ curve to your speakers. So it's amazing A-Bing it, and I've actually felt a real positive change on my programming guitar sounds.
Very cool. And they have presets too, where you could like monitor your mixes through like
and you know what?
Simulated speakers. And
everybody's talking about
ask,
the mixes translating. Guitar tones translate with that,
Very
which is,
cool.
and that's one of the biggest problems people have with modelers is I made this in my home studio,
Right.
and then I brought it to a gig and it sounds harsh or it sounds woofy. It's with that. It's like when I brought my presets to the rehearsal studio, they sounded the same.
Wow.
So that was
very little tweakage or like no tweakage.
I didn't have to do any EQ tweaking.
So you didn't even have to be here.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, here, gig's yours. See you later.
Thanks,
Good
everyone. So how does that differ from regular IRs? Or is it in the ballpark?
That's not an IR. That's an EQ.
Okay.
It's putting an EQ curve. I think there are IRs in that. When it gives you different rooms, it'll give you. You could be like watching a TV or something.
Car radio.
It does all that sort of stuff.
Right, lo-fi.
But I think this is just EQ curve. It's analyzing your room for what is not flat.
Sure.
And applying that.
You just mentioned IRs though. Do you use IRs
Yes.
for like third party, or are you using
I
all
use
line six
Ownhammer
stuff?
IRs, but for some of these presets, I'm using all stock. I think for the bass stuff, I'm using stock.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm using the built-in cabinets because I thought
So
they
it's like
sounded
an
good.
SVT cab?
Yeah, SVT cab, Marshall cab.
Got it.
You know,
When you're building the presets out though, as far as like you have the foot controller here as well, how are you setting it up for when you're playing in the show? Are you in like preset snapshot mode? Are you in?
I like to do presets on the bottom and stomps on and off on the top. And when I'm in a preset, sometimes I'll just hit the stomp mode just so I can see all the stomp boxes. Because for the bass stuff, I use quite a few effects. And also, I'm turning effects on and off with the expression pedal as well.
Okay.
That's important. The expression pedal plays a big part in this gig. The expression pedals for anything I need to grab quick.
Sure.
And in you and I, when I go from ba-ba-ba-boom, ba-ba, bing, and it goes from the octave down to the Leslie effect, that's all in the expression pedal. I don't want to tap dance.
Okay.
I'd rather just park down the expression pedal and know down is one sound I need, up is another sound I need.
Now, is there something you could do where you wanted just the dry signal and you could take all the effects off and just, you
I do that
as
too.
well? Yeah.
With the guitar stuff, I do that.
Yeah.
Because on Owner of Lonely Heart, I have to go from very dry
Heavy crunch
to very wet.
Yeah.
And there are other songs where I also will put a gain parameter on the expression pedal so I can have more distortion while I'm playing.
Because the intro to that, I mean, had that heavy kind of power chord thing, and then to really crystal clear arpeggios.
That has to be done with presets.
Got it.
That's it. And because those are radical changes.
Huge.
So I use presets and stomps because that's my workflow. Our other guitar player, Andy Graziano, he uses snapshots because he has to do scene changes. And so for him, he has a preset per song and just snaps through them, verse, chorus, solo, stuff like that.
So whatever works. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's so adaptable. It's like you might use it one way, he uses it another way, and it still works.
We're actually all using Helixes.
Isn't it
Helices?
Helices. Excuse me. I didn't want to be a jerk about it.
Helices. We're all using Helices. What's line 6's line on that? How do you say multiples?
Helices.
Helices?
That would be correct, yes.
That would be correct. So, okay, fine. But isn't antennas not antennae? Like when you're talking antenna.
But that's only if it's on an insect.
We're derailing.
Honestly, as far as music, as the semantics of language, I could get way into it. Trust me. We'll
And that's
talk
all
about
the time we have, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Somehow we're still married. I don't know how it happened. Not you and I, but we could be.
We could.
All right. So
So I'm using it obviously for bass and guitar. Our guitar player Andy has one for electric and one for his acoustic rig. He has an LT. Our keyboard player Rob uses an HX Stomp for his acoustic, and our keyboard player Chris is using an HX Effects for his synth.
You know he's not there, right? You're just pointing it. Oh, we can fix it later.
That's a problem.
With your patches and presets, how are you plugging your bass and your guitar? Are they just both taking aux in and guitar in, or is it split?
That's a good question. Actually.
That's a really good question. And this is complicated, but
sure.
The guitar goes into two returns on the bass. Sorry, the bass goes into two returns on the back because the Rico sound is a stereo output.
Yeah.
You know, breaking out the two mono cables. So that's returns 1 and 2. The Variax goes through the Variax input, and when I play a mono bass for one song, that has to go into the front.
Wow.
So, because they're all routed differently.
Sure.
So they have to go, and the only annoyance there is I have to keep a clip-on tuner because if you tune off of the returns, you can't use the tuner anymore for the input.
Ooh.
So I keep a discrete clip-on
And
tuner.
are your
in the back.
presets set up to ultimately and automatically, not automatically, but identify an assigned input, or
No,
is it,
I set them.
you set them yourself,
Yeah.
so you literally couldn't fumble by accident.
Yeah.
Hit a bass patch with your guitar on.
Yeah, if I have the guitar on and there's a bass patch on, there's no sound
There's
coming out.
no sound coming out.
But I think it would be kind of fun if everybody was an E and you were an E flat, just to see, you know, if they're listening. Like, all right, you passed the test. I was just messing around.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be great because that wouldn't be annoying at all.
The key controller you have here is another thing you were telling me before we started filming, which is interesting, that you actually also have that connected into the Line 6 ultimately as well.
So the MIDI controller goes into the Helix and then comes out into the Roland, and it sends MIDI messages to the Roland. Which is another great thing the Helix can do. If you have that command center, it can relay MIDI messages. So for some songs we use down-tuned instruments. So when I go to those songs, I hit my preset for that, and it tells the Roland, okay, go to a preset with a lower tuning. So when I'm hitting an A note on my bass pedals, it's the same as the A note on the guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry that maybe when you guys aren't around that these machines talk to each other and they will kill you?
I do worry about that. I lose sleep over it. Yeah.
I would too. Yeah.
No, thanks for walking us through. I mean, I think that covers a lot of ground with what the Helix can actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also, for me, I'm thoroughly confused, and that's the sign of a good rig rundown.
Well,
I know less now than I did when we came in.
My rig is confusing because I'm trying to use every inch of this thing, but as you go around the room here, you'll see less confusing configurations.
So I got one last question on the Helix. With the actual signal flow, the signal chain, are you end up using typically one particular signal path? Are you running them in stereo for your guitar?
I use the two signal paths for the bass.
Yep.
I'm trying to use the guitar on one signal path. Is a thing I'm trying for this tour, because I flirted with the idea of getting an HX Stomp XL as the standalone guitar rig.
Yeah.
But we ended up just keeping it all in here for now.
Okay.
But I could branch it out to two. For the bass, it's two separate paths for each output.
Yep.
For the guitar stuff, it's either one path or one path just daisied into the other one.
Because you get more
Yeah, you get more DSP. Correct.
Right. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate it,
It's on
Richie.
me. I mean, I'm still confused.
You want to see some guitars?
Do you want me to hold it while you talk about it since you got the mic? Okay.
Sure, whatever you want.
Well, I can drop it. I mean, hold it.
Drop it.
I would never. All right, so tell us about this bad boy. Obviously, it's a Steve.
Oh, sorry. Come over here. This is Chris Fenn. He's our guitar tech.
Hey, folks.
Hi, Fen.
How you doing here?
So, that's all I got.
I'm a man of few words.
There you go. So we got our Steve Morse model here. Tell me about this.
Yeah, it's a Steve Morse Y2D. This is basically a spare. I might play it when we do the Trevor Rabin era songs. I play guitar.
Yeah.
So it's either this one or I'll play the Variax. And this is tuned down for one song, which I can't say because it's a surprise.
What's the difference between the YTD or Y2D? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Y2D.
And his primary blue.
Is one less pickup and a far simpler switching
Configuration?
setup. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a regular 5-way. On his, he has 3 switches, and but it's pretty much the same. Quick story about this guitar. I used this on a Blue Oyster Cult show where we had to open for Deep Purple.
Oh, cool.
And I was playing it, and he walked into our dressing room, and he goes, He pointed to me, and I said, "Well, this is embarrassing."
Oh, that's a good thing.
No,
man.
he said, "This is really cool."
yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, what do you got there?" I said, "I have a detune." He said, "How'd you do that with the floating?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I blocked it off." And then he went, "Ah," and he walked out of the room, and I lost whatever cool points I had earned with Steve Morse.
Now, is it true that you guys ended up wrestling in the hallway after that?
He's quite a bit stronger than me, and
Yeah.
he's more jacked, so he won.
And he's a pilot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was. I don't want to talk about that. Let's move on.
Sorry.
You have a bunch of Music Man there, right? You have Luke.
Yeah,
Is it
I
Luke?
love Music Man guitars. I've been playing them since I'm 16.
Do you have a Luke as well?
No, I have a bunch of Axis guitars.
Axis.
Axes.
Axes, plural.
Yeah.
Axes.
Axes.
I have several
Verify, validate.
axes.
Your axes consist of some axes.
Yes, this is the grammar lesson with Ryan Dacey. Thank you very much.
Well, there'll be more at the end of the show. Don't worry about that. This is sweet. Can I have it?
Yeah,
Thanks,
sure.
man. I'll see you guys later. Yeah. I'll trade you. Thank you, sir.
This is an Ibanez. It started life as an SR 505. It is now called the Foof bass because my Uncle Phil, whose nickname is Foof, he painted this. That's going to be a recurring theme with my guitars. We changed the pickups. It's got new Bartolini's, a new Bartolini wiring harness. It has a Blue Oyster Cult graphic on the headstock that was painted by my ex-wife. And
24 frets?
24 frets, 5 strings. There are a few Trevor Rabin era songs that require all the frets and all the strings. And there's a new song that I recorded on this bass, so we'll be using this bass for that.
Is that called Foof, the song?
The song is called Foof. Yes, it is Foof in a 13/4. Yes.
What's your switch doing at the bottom there?
This is parametric EQ.
Okay.
It just switches the focus of the mid-range frequency. But yeah, I love this bass. This is another. Well, it's a spare. Can be used for anything. This is a 1974 Rickenbacker 4001 and purchased at Castellano's House of Music. Had to do it. Thanks.
Of course you
Thanks,
did.
Dad. We put a hip shot bridge on here because the original Rickenbacker bridge was not being cooperative with us.
Okay.
So we put that on, and yeah, this is has Schaller tuners. Other than that, it's
Stock
Well worn
electronics
in.
and
pretty
everything?
stock. Yeah.
And Rico sound on that bad
Rico
boy?
sound. Yep.
Nice.
And yeah, this is one of my favorite instruments. I love this thing.
That's well worn in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like.
Coming.
Whoa.
Color variance.
Out of nowhere.
Next one.
Okay.
All right.
This is another Uncle Phil special. This started life as a Walnut 4003S from 2018, and my uncle painted it slime glow. So that's what we call this color. It's a slime glow Rick. And my cousin Phil did a whole shaving job, reshaping on the neck. It plays really well.
Yeah, it does.
This is the bass we are using for the drop tune stuff. And it's got a mono output, but it's been rewired for stereo by my uncle.
And you activate that with this here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
It's a push-pull, and yeah, this is great. Another thing he had to do was, I don't know if you can see this, he sank. You tell me, is it sunk or sank?
He synced it.
He synced
Grammar
the,
check.
He lowered the bridge.
Ah.
You see it?
Countersync.
He recessed it.
Right.
Workaround. Take
You're
that.
so smart. By the way, is that same scale length as the other ones? For some reason, it looks
think it's
shorter.
a little longer.
Longer. I
think
meant
this
longer.
one's longer and heavier.
When I said shorter, I meant
And
longer.
it's got the maple, which I think is really cool for a Rickenbacker.
And it's slimming, which
Yeah,
is
it
nice.
is. Maple is slimming.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
This is my new purchase for the
I
tour.
love that bass.
Beautiful.
This is a 1986 Shadow bass, which was you can bleep this out, exclusive.
You son of a gun.
Yeah, they made 50 of these. It comes in all black with all black hardware and pick guards and stuff, but I changed that. I got a gentleman online to make me gold because I figured it would pop a little bit. Also,
That it does,
My
yeah.
first ever Rickenbacker was a John Lennon that had the black and gold, so this is sort of an homage to that.
Very nice.
Do you still have it?
I still do.
Yeah, those are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I love it.
Super short scale, right?
Yeah, it's I think a 5/8 scale
Yeah.
or something.
Okay.
Yeah, this is stock except for the pickguard and the truss rod cover. But this is one of the best basses I've ever played. It has the Paduk. I was told Paduk
Paduk fretboard.
fretboard. Yeah, and yeah, it's light. As I said this as my arm is falling off. It's light and it's got a very slim neck. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. I just want to hold it again.
Yeah.
No, I got to play this. I mean, it plays like butter.
This is insane. This bass.
Yeah, it's
I
really
love
great.
it.
And this is a great bass for like if you're a guitar player and you want to pick up a bass and not feel like it's an alien. This feels like you could just get right on it.
Yeah, I don't have big fingers. This is perfect for me.
Yeah, and it's lighter. I mean, the other ricks we picked up, not that they were anything really backbreaking, but
This is fun to play. This is I can play this all night and have no problems.
Yeah, very cool.
And then the last guitar is the Variax.
So is that what you're using for much of the show, I would assume, yeah?
That's the main bass, and this is the main guitar. This is a Line 6 JTV 69S. I put DiMarzio pickups on it because I love DiMarzio pickups.
Yes, they're great.
And other than that, it's pretty much stock. I think we shaved the neck on this. I'm a
that actually looks like a pretty chunky neck for
I'm a neck shaver, but this is I'm bummed that they don't make the Variax anymore.
Yeah, you and me both.
Because I love the Variax. We're carrying 3 of them on the road here. They're great, just amazing technology. They allow us to do things like I could step on a pedal for Owner of the Lonely Heart and get the bridge and middle sound. You know,
it does. It switches
I don't have to
that
switch
too.
anything. I do it with my feet.
Oh,
how awesome is that? Like if you know you have to hit
awesome.
a mark in a song, you hit it and it switches everything.
Yep, 12 string, sitars, whatever.
So if you do all your homework before you hit the stage, I mean, if you've done everything right, it should run on a dime.
Yeah,
I mean, everything is locked in.
It should.
Yeah. What if we broke one of these things? Like, because Russ did trip over something on the way in, and
Ixnay.
What would trip over?
Nothing.
I'm kidding. That's not true.
That was
we'll
a
talk
joke.
about it later.
Okay. All right. Guys.
Wait,
He's leaving.
Don't forget this.
I figured that was a good way to end this.
It's good. Oh, you're back.
Let's talk about Pro Audio.
Yeah, this is an Ace, right?
It's an AT?
Every microphone, every wireless pack on stage is, all of our in-ears are Audio Technica. We've been using Audio Technica since this was a podcast, and now that it's a band, we're still using Audio Technica. We love it. This is an AE 6100 Artist Elite Audio Technica. We're all using one. John's using one, a wireless version on his vocal.
Okay.
And all the drum mics are Audio Technica. We're huge Audio Technica fans.
And IEMs as well, you said?
We're using their packs. Everybody has their own
Whatever
IEMs,
of choice.
Yeah,
Sure.
whatever they want to use. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
You're not using your IEM system with your Helix, though. Like, I remember you shot a video.
Oh, no, that was like a cool hack.
Okay,
You know what
that
I
was
mean?
a hack,
Yeah.
but you're not
No,
practically using that.
We have Drew who does that. Hi, Drew. And we have a monitor console and we have a monitor engineer.
Now, while you were talking about that, just because it kind of popped into my head, it's almost like Death Clock in the sense that you had a podcast, you guys are obviously fans of a giant array of music, and then eventually you said it became a band.
It became a band. Yeah. We started this as a bunch of guys who were musicians talking about non-musical things that we liked. Band guys talking about geeky things.
Sure.
And to my shock, no one was interested in that.
No one?
Yeah, absolutely no one thought that was a good idea.
But you could think of everybody we would get into an argument about, whatever.
Well, the thing is, when you're sitting on a tour bus with somebody and you're arguing who's the better captain, Kirk or Picard, you think, well, I wish we were recording this because this is really interesting stuff. Yeah. And then I did record it, and apparently it's only interested to the people having the conversation. Then no one else was interested. So
2 comments.
But we were encouraged by the person who ran the podcast network to record a song as a companion to every episode.
Okay.
So we would do a song and we would video it and put it on YouTube. And then the songs just got lots of views and the podcast got fewer views and fewer and fewer until finally we said, why are we bothering with this podcast? We've become a band. That's it. Yeah. So.
And it kind of helps that everybody can play.
Yeah. Well, which is the funniest thing. I thought, look, everybody in here is a great musician, but we're not going to play any music. Isn't that cool? Isn't that a great idea?
It's like suppressing a sneeze. I'm like, just go and play already. I want you guys to do this. I mean, to me, when you first came into my collective conscious was obviously, covering Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a beautiful thing and probably a sore subject as well. But just because of the amount of hits it got.
It's a sore subject. I'm proud of that.
Didn't they take it down for a while or something? Or?
No, they took down some other stuff.
With the nude stuff you did.
Yeah. Well, that I asked them to take. My mom actually asked.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that later. Sorry.
Haters gonna hate.
Thank you for your time.
Sure.
We appreciate it, brother. All right, so we're moving over to the keyboard station here with another geek of the Band Geeks. This is Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi. Hey.
Good, man. So why don't you walk us through this rig? You got a lot of bases to cover with all the different eras of Yes that you guys are covering. So, you're doing the Wakeman, you're doing Tony K, you're doing pretty much everybody. No?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's right. I'm prepared to accommodate or properly address whatever error we're dealing with. I'll do it. Tony K.
Yes.
We just it's like non-negotiable screaming Hammond.
Because that sounds just like it. I mean, is that just one patch in there?
Yes, it's Nord Electro 3 replicates a lot of the predominant electromechanical keyboards.
Oh.
So it has like a Fender Rhodes piano or a Whirly or a clavinet, but I'm using it for 100% for organs.
But Chris, why don't you go through just even your process that you did when you selected the keyboards that you're using for the show? Because so many times we're talking about guitarists and they're picking a Fender Strat versus a Gibson Les Paul for these purposes. Now, what was your kind of mentality as a keyboard player as you're picking everything from a Nord Lead 3 to a Yamaha CK88?
Okay, well, if you're doing yes, then there has to be a prominent lead voice. So this is the Nord Lead 3, which is actually, I've had this for literally decades. It's actually, it's pretty much the really good analog smorgasbord. Mm-hmm. And it does, Yeah, so it does any of those characteristic lead sounds. It does pretty well.
So it's maybe like Oberheim's or like a Moog.
Yeah, definitely Moog, Oberheim, Prophet. Does those really really well.
Yeah, it sounds great.
And the thing will slice. It'll slice through concrete. So there's no danger of it not being heard. But unless I go chicken and just soft pedal.
No, I don't think that's gonna. And how do you blend the two together? Is it song specific, or are you kind of using this together on any specific?
No, it's it's the best possible tool for the job. I'm lucky that we actually have the best possible tools for the job. And I mean, I could, if we engineered the provision in that if something. If something broke, I think I could actually do the entire gig on the Yamaha CK88 if I had to. If something went horribly wrong,
right? Which could happen.
It can happen, as
right.
I say.
Hey,
it's topical. Okay, okay, good.
What about programming wise? I mean, from a Nord Lead 3, how many patches are being used or set on a given keyboard versus you almost staying with one sound the entire show on a particular keyboard?
I have the leads preset, so I have the I have the the other maybe more like a Hard as I, that kind of thing. I have you kind of just if it needs generic, not generic but pads
and some strings and so yeah.
Yeah, and I also have actually another thing is an alternate. There's one section where I need just kind of a church organ, and it's more like something to bridge a particular section where we're doing something that was heavily overdubbed. So I'm just trying to accommodate for that transition. So sometimes you're not really using this for the pipe organ, but if you put it in context. It actually sounds. It sounds actually pretty satisfying.
Okay.
Let's see. That's for the most part. That's the Nord. It's just kind of it's like the lead weapon plus.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And
are you singing backups as well?
I am.
So when you're doing all that and you're using your feet, your hands, and everything, how do you even know when to come? How does you not just fall over?
We practice quite a bit.
I'll bet.
In the room, in the first room, and in the home.
Okay.
So it's incumbent upon me to, tackle the coordination issue.
Got it. And whose voice are you emulating when you at least when you're doing all the harmonies? We obviously know that there's the Chris Squire voice and there's the Jon Anderson voice. Who are you doing? Like Daffy Duck or like Bette Midler?
I think it's Droopy Dog and Yosemite Sam. I'm thinking.
Oh, those are good. I don't think people realize how much Yosemite Sam is buried in a lot of Yes songs.
I know. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There's a song called Varmints. It's
Varmints,
on Tales of Topographic Oceans. A lot of people don't know it.
Let me see. Let me try again now. It's ooh, like this.
Was that when Bugs and Yosemite Sam are in the same house and they're not allowed to leave?
That's.
Would you pass the pepper? Get it yourself.
What? Get it yourself.
We're
be 400
derailing.
pounds. What? 500. Oh!
So Kurzweil PC4.
Oh yeah, love this. This is actually again, it's another thing that could do the entire gig if I had to, but it has some like okay. So right out of the bat, if you're doing yes, you have to have a mellotron. So you'll. You know, and this does it, and it's spectacular.
Is that built in from the Kurzweil or are those expansion
Yeah,
parts?
it actually ships with. That's the beauty of it. This is actually it actually ships with these mellotron sounds. There's a piano in here as well. Yeah. That could be. I don't know. It's not. I didn't buy it for the piano. I bought it for all the juicy.
That sounds great, though.
So it does.
It's got the attack and everything, yeah.
Let me see what.
How about like something for like roundabout where you're doing that kind of the Hammond kind of sound?
Well, the Hammond would be
Goes
over here.
back over the neck.
Yeah, that would.
Got it. Shows you what I know. Okay.
It sounds spot on.
Yeah, it does.
You're pretty representative.
Imagine when you have both hands. It's going to be awesome.
Right.
Oh, was that purchased from American Musical Supply?
It was. Thank you so much. And this is just a fantastic, amazing piano.
Complemented by some wicked playing.
Yeah, right? Welcome to Nordstrom. That
Very
sounds
nice,
fantastic.
So you're buying it for the acoustic piano, but it happens to have what does it have? Like really good Rhodes piano.
Oh, yeah. Don't go changing.
Has really good organs.
It's more than I could say.
Again, you're not buying it for that, but it's spectacular.
Sure.
And then something I generally don't use in the show, but it's
Wow.
It sounded like someone was tied to the train tracks.
And you can buy it for that. So it's just stacked. It's just stacked.
That's killer.
I mean, it's the latest and greatest, so you would expect it to like shine like this, and it does. It's you know, extra lead.
That's the sound I make when I wake up first thing in the morning. That's
Right.
me. Eyes open.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for the tour, Chris.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
Hey, Andy, thanks for the tour today, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Can you walk us through your Yamaha set, your cymbals,
Sure.
even your mics?
I have a Yamaha live custom kit, 22, 10, 12, 14, 16. And I have a Yamaha recording custom brass snare, 14 by 6.5. I'm using Zildjian Cymbals. I like the A custom cymbals, so I have an 18, a 16, a 17. This is an old Z custom 17-inch rock crash. 2 Chinas, A custom 18, a Oriental 16-inch, 2 A custom splashes, an 8, a 10, K custom 20-inch ride. And this hat is actually a mix. It's a custom bottom with a K custom session hat top. I was experimenting with.
I was gonna say, how did you settle on that?
Yeah, I was experimenting with some tops and bottoms, and the A custom seemed a little too bright for me. I wanted a little bit more meat, and the K custom session top gave me a little bit more meat than I was looking for. This is a little stack. I have a low volume cymbal underneath it just to give me some space to hit it, and it's a K splash, 8-inch Oriental China, and a little tambourine
Nice.
topper.
So this allows you to cover, you know, Bruford or Alan
Yeah,
White. Or...
I also have a rototom here.
Okay.
Oh,
That
nice.
definitely gives me that Bruford sound when I need it.
And do you have to like change gears when you're going to? I mean, the catalog of Yes is obviously so broad, and with all the different players coming in and out, do you have to change your mindset on that, or is it just like automatic at this point?
I kind of developed a way of picking parts from each of them, and it's kind of cool with the Alan coming in and playing the Bruford stuff his way.
Right.
And now I'm coming in and kind of taking a little bit from both of them.
Okay. So you take liberties
So
kind of from both camps.
Yeah. Certain songs I'll be doing more of a Bruford thing,
Yeah.
but I might do it in an Alan White way.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just a little bit of little bit of every mix
Russ
of
used
everything.
to perform on the Alan White way. It was very impressive.
What about the snare with the brass snare? What kind of drove that choice in particular?
That's, I think, an Alan White choice.
Okay.
Because he's always a big brass snare guy, and he's a Zildjian guy too. I've been always using Zildjian, but this is the ride he always used. And with the brass snare, I kind of have a little bit of an Alan vibe. And I have some Zildjian crotales over here.
And what about mic-wise, as far as mic the kit up?
These are all Audio Technicas, but yeah, we've been using them. We used them last year, and we're using them this year, and they sound great.
And no triggers.
No triggers. No triggers.
It's all acoustic.
All
Beautiful.
acoustic, including my pitched percussion. And I have Evans drum heads on everything. I'm using the EC2S's on the toms, power center, reverse dot on the snare, and a EQ4 on the kick.
Man, unfortunately we're pressed for time because I would love to hear you rip it up on this thing. I bet it's awesome, but hopefully we'll catch part of that during soundcheck if we're allowed to hang out. And I appreciate your time, man.
Of course.
Thank you so much. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
Just when you thought it was safe, we have another Andy.
That's it.
Or should we call you Steve Howe?
Steve Howe? Well, but for me it would be Steve Howe. Like,
Hey!
how do I do that? It's very
Well,
not
again,
easy.
I'm seeing more line 6.
Yes.
How is your rig a little different than what we saw with Richie?
That's a good question. Mine is pretty much Helix into the amps for the stage volume, and then everything out to the house. So it's pretty low volume over here, just a little.
Right, and we were hearing that you're doing more like actual scenes on yours. How you have it set
so
up?
I got it in snapshots. So every song has its own. So
First
every
chorus,
song has a
bridge,
new
solo.
patch, and then so it depends on clean, dirty, lead, whatever the song has. So if it's a song like Starship Trooper, I have a little tremolo on something, a little phaser on something, that kind of thing. And so each song has its own.
When you're using the preset in the snapshot mode, do you end up finding yourself on any of the tunes switching over to stomp mode still on the right-hand side so you can kind of engage or disengage a particular effect, like a boost or something?
It's usually just just by
Snapshot
section
is literally
by
it's
section.
a set and forget.
Yeah,
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's good.
great.
I hadn't used that before. I was using it more like a traditional pedal board, and then
No, it's really powerful.
like everything involving Helix here, my great mentor Richie has showed me the way. Showed me the way. That's
So
right.
the cabs that you have behind you, the
Yes.
Line 6 power cabs, are you using them as FRFRs, or are you using like the
I don't know what that means.
flat? I like the honesty. Are they like flat response
Yes,
speakers,
yes, I
or
have
are
them
you
all.
Who's the geek
using
here?
They have
any of the models?
yeah, they have
cabs?
models. I like them just flat. I just happen to like it
So
better
you
like
end
that,
up doing
so everything's
whatever-
coming out of there
Okay, and are
first.
you using
Yeah.
third-party IRs as well, or are you using the
Yeah.
cabs that are provided?
Basically what we have there, so it's some kind of third party thing.
Okay.
And so that's the rig. I mean, this is your like space station number
Yeah,
one.
so this
Right.
one is
Space
for the
Station number 2.
electrics.
Is this acoustic?
This is for the variaxes over here for specifically for the acoustic one. It's just for that, and this is an LT right there. So it's the
lettuce and tomato.
yeah, the lettuce and tomato one. So it's just me that has the cheese.
Now, the two guitars that are on the stands
Yes.
here, are they both connected to this, or
Just
are they
the
split?
acoustic variax is, and the electric one will go into.
So do you
the-
ever have a
here.
song where you are actually utilizing both?
Not both in one. So
Not in one
Yeah.
tune,
So
okay.
if I'm using the electric on a stand, it's usually for a sitar sound.
Sure.
For something like Close to the Edge.
Got
And
it.
last year when we did Ritual, that has a nice sitar part in it also. And the acoustic is pretty much set to either a 12-string simulator or for roundabout just a regular 6-string. So
Okay.
yeah.
And snapshot mode preset for that as well?
That is just one patch, and that's pretty much
Oh,
there.
that's just the go-to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
Gotcha.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. So it's nice. It's just there.
And your VP here, the junior, is that for expression as well, or volume?
Yeah, volume, mostly for volume. I use the actual expression on the Helix itself for like wah and stuff like that, but that's
Okay.
pretty much it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Neat and tidy.
Yeah, and we also set up the bass through that, so when we do like the 80s stuff and I play bass on it, I had it's also set up through there. The routing's a little different coming out of it, but it's still using that.
Now,
so.
with that routing, is that Richie or Andy? Is that going to be aux and guitar in, or how is that routed where you can have both at the same time?
It's just, the bass goes at a different output.
Bass
Yeah.
is going out. Okay.
So different output.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at some of the guitars. if we
Yeah,
may.
let's do that.
Your man
So-
Fenn is coming by.
The one that you would see the most.
Over
Over here now.
This guy.
That's the main one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is one you'll see mostly throughout the show. This is a mid 90s 335, and this is. I mean, when I got this, I'll retell the story that we said last year about this. This was right when I was getting started. I was lucky to have a father who was very supportive of what we're doing, much like Richie and Andy and the guys. And we were into blues, and we were playing blues, and I had my my Strat, and I had a Les Paul and this and that, and then like one day this appeared in the house as like I guess as an investment or whatever, and I was like, oh. You got a 335. Well, that's great. Okay. So it kind of sat around for a while, and I didn't, I played it, and it was really nice, but I was like, oh, this is...
Well, it depends. Where in the house did it show up?
Yeah, it was... Brought it home one day, like he had
but
bought it.
But in your room? Like, here you go?
They brought it. It was a case right there.
That's fantastic.
I was like, wow. Like, I didn't ask for it. I was like, this showed up in my house. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly.
And that's stock? You haven't done anything to that?
No, not a single thing.
That's a beautiful
I've changed strings once or twice since then, but
Wonderful.
That's about it.
Oh, that's great. And you're using that for most of the show? Or?
Yeah, and then over the years, though, it just... more and more was like, this thing is like just the most amazing guitar. It just...
Well, they get better, don't they?
Yeah, it just ages very nicely, and it plays well. And specifically for this kind of music, it's like, I'm not a 175 guy. Like, those are very hard to play. So
you can fake it on that, right?
Yeah. So this is like it scratches that itch, and it covers, it's very nice, and I just love it.
All right, cool.
So
we'll grab that.
This is the one that'll show up in most of the tunes.
Okay.
This guy, this is
thank you, sir. Sure.
SG custom, so I guess technically it's a Les Paul custom, whatever.
I could get through the history of it with you, but they'll yell at me.
Sure. So this is, I guess, mid 2000s, something like that. I bought it used, but it's something that was like a treat for myself. Like my first full year working, and I was like, let me buy myself something.
That's a classy looking guitar.
Just from seeing all like the old Iommi footage and the Hendrix footage, I was like, something that I just wanted to have at some point, and like I went out and found one that. And when you're looking for them, like, they don't all play the same. They're all...
Not at all.
One can be beautiful, and you play it, and it's like, ugh, this one just happened to be right. And
so when in the set do you know when you switch from the 335 to that?
This we have tuned down to D.
Okay.
So there's a couple of songs that are just a whole step lower. So this is the guitar for that.
And you're doing like Doom songs and stuff.
Yeah, and then definitely
makes sense.
And we'll drop that. So we'll have a drop. What would that be? Drop C.
Fantastic.
Do all that kind of stuff. So
I love
that's the SG.
I love that it kind of aged to that creamy color. It's a beautiful thing. Can't fake that.
Nah, for sure.
Uh-oh. Beautiful. We got more guitars.
More guitars.
Do
this is the newest.
Ooh,
the newest acquisition. This is the Fender Ultra Deluxe, whatever they call it. But this is everything that a Tele probably shouldn't be, and this is kind of why I like it. So it's got humbuckers, which does have a nice coil split, which is helpful, and the Floyd Rose, which is again very un-Tele, and the locking.
So you're using that for more the 80s stuff, or
this is actually I'm using this on some of the new stuff that we're doing. So we have. One of our new songs, Shine On. I'm going to play that on here. And this is kind of a backup for my 335, just in case anything goes down with that. And it's really cool. It's like a shred monster. It's kind of like looking for something in that vein. And I was like, I don't. Actually, the thing that made me want to find something like this is that when we were recording, I was using a Strat for something that we were trying to do, and I was like, it's okay. But so I used Richie's Telecaster, and it was just like,
the aha moment, yeah.
This sounds like, all right, this is what it needs to sound like. So I was like, let me try to capture that.
That's cool.
And it kind of fits my pattern of getting things that don't exactly do what they're supposed to do.
And matching headstocks are better for tone as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that.
T-O-A-N.
Yeah,
right, tone.
Toan.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
That's how we do that.
Oh, sorry.
Next.
Next.
Nice.
But
next to newest.
Music Man?
Yeah, so that was the guitar for this year. Well, this was the guitar for last year. So this is my Music Man Mariposa in beautiful white and gold and
great body
all
shape.
that. Yeah, it's slightly smaller than normal. So it's the guitar. Oh, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, beautiful body shape.
And I can't help but notice your knobs.
Hey.
They're very shiny, and
I've
those are not
before.
the stock ones.
These knobs? Yeah, these actually came with it.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I polished his knobs earlier.
Yes.
You did a really good
much.
job. They're really
totally spent.
Yeah. This one's still wet.
Yeah. I did have it modded a little bit by our wonderful guitar tech, Rocco, not guitar tech, but our guitar repairman, Rocco Monterosa. The initial setup it was kind of backwards from I'm used to Gibsons and stuff like that, so I had him kind of route it like that instead. But it's just plays really nice. It's just butter. It's got the nice.
The necks on those things are ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Music Man, everything I've played by them, it's just right out of the box. It seems to just work and just be
Are
great.
you listening, Music Man?
Are you listening?
They should be. We'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what do you use that for?
This I'm using also on some new stuff as well. This is tuned to standard for this, so I have a couple. One of the newer songs that we're doing called True Messenger. I'll be playing this on that.
Cool.
And
I'll take that. There you go. Thank you.
so the stand guitars that we have over there, which we will show in somehow.
I'm not allowed to move.
Double line 6.
We have the Variax, the acoustic model, which is pretty much usually set to a 12-string or an acoustic sound, and the other one in the electric is, what is that? James Tyler, was that the guy's name? Yeah, the GTV.
It looks like you got similar pickups in that like
same.
Richie has in there. The same DiMaggio's?
Yeah,
Okay.
they should be because they're both his guitars. So
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. Nice.
yeah, so
and
I love
did you
that thing
shave
a
the
lot.
neck
though.
on that as well? Because he likes his
No.
very smooth.
No, I haven't shaved. It's
It's
well,
stubbly.
I don't know. Did you shave that one?
I don't think I shaved that one.
No,
Oh.
it's still.
Well, we'll shave it for later.
It's still, it's got that 70s look,
It definitely does.
It does. It's super cool, man. At least got the mustache look. Awesome.
Hello.
Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate the time, and this is great.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
Thanks for the walkthrough.
All right, we are here with Rob. Don't call me Bobby. On the well, this is like, is this all analog? What am I looking at here?
Not all analog, but all hardware, yes.
All right. Well, why don't you walk me through here?
This
we
is
got a lot going
the
on.
Hammond SKX Pro, so double manual, so it kind of looks like playing a Hammond organ, playing the B3.
Right.
Feels like it because the Hammond action, the tone wheel organ action.
right.
But inside of it are the guts of a clone wheel,
Right.
the guts of
The drawbars
sample
and
ROMs, pianos, strings,
Okay.
emulators, and a monosynth for analog leads. So for this gig,
How do
it's
you? Yeah, I
perfect
was
for
going to
that.
ask how you divvy it up with Chris when you guys are, not stepping on each other's feet.
It's between Chris and I and Rich and Andy, who are also amazing keyboard players. Like we thought about it a lot, and we also get the fun part of playing parts and layers that only 4 hands could do, and that 2 hands, however talented they might have been, just you can only play so many parts at once.
Right.
So I get to have the fun part of adding in layers that maybe no one has.
And
tried
then you
before.
also know when to kind of lay back.
Exactly.
And then you
And
have
I
to
get to-
count. When do I come back in?
That's okay because guitar and the shaker, like I've got, and the singing, like we've all
Right.
got plenty to do. So it's nice to wear all the hats.
So I think it's probably safe to say you guys are really focused on replicating a lot of these classic albums and making sure, like, okay, that overdub came in at this part.
And being
then-
faithful, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, but that can be nerve-wracking too, because you're not playing the whole time. So it might just be one bar 3 minutes into a song, and you're like, ooh, I better hit that.
I live for that though.
Do you?
I love because
So
that's,
you are
that's
a geek.
where yeah, exactly. That's
All
what
right.
that's we put the capital G in geek. I
That's
promise.
a beautiful. Well, and we know Yes fans are very.
Just like us.
Yeah, they better. If you
And that's
miss
why
it,
we could do this together. It's amazing.
yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, it really keeps you on your toes because, again, in some regular context of a band, you could play, you could lay back, you could do whatever. This is almost like being in an orchestra. It's like I need to know when this is going to happen, and
Yes.
if not, you get smacked, right?
No, but that's the fun part. And John actually reminds us like to just be irreverent enough that you still want to have
fun with it.
You know, everybody, we're all here because we want to remember all the notes, but we also want to like have a good time and like rock out. And John also does, which
Well,
is
I think
that's a win
really
for all
good.
of us.
That's a really good point, though, too, because when you see classic Yes concerts, and obviously the albums are one thing. When you saw them live, they were a completely different animal. So you're kind of on the line of we want to faithfully capture what was on the record, but at the same time, this is a live band.
And 4 hands makes that really doable in
Yeah.
a way that like we love and we love that everybody else loves.
Awesome. And what do we have over on that stand?
The radial DI, the key largo, is for every all of my inputs in here. The keyboards, the acoustic guitar, the sample pad, and the line 6 that feeds the acoustic guitar.
Got to be line 6 over here.
Yes,
It's the law.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Awesome.
I think I pay a tax if I don't have any line 6.
No, that's cool. This is awesome, man. Thank you for your time. And then, of course, we've got guitars. Do we get to do anything with that, or?
That's the top of the line talent equipment.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really? So all 12 strings?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe yes.
Oh, but you don't touch those?
No, I would be charged by the string if I touched them.
Oh, all right. Well, then we won't talk about that. I am so sorry.
No, but the Martin I'm playing I love, which is right out of the Richie Castellano living room.
And so, so you're
Which is
layering just acoustic parts on any given point.
Couple of tunes. It's really, really nice. Again, in like the process of making live music that also sounds like the overdubs of the studio. I do a little bit of
So
acoustic
you're like
guitar
a utility man. Like you're pretty much ready to fill in whatever needs to be done.
on the field of dreams. That's right.
Whoa, that's a beautiful thing. We'll wrap it there. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'd like to thank Richie Castellano and the Band Geeks here in Carteret, New Jersey.
I know how to do this. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and be sure to check out AmericanMusical.com. See you next time.
That was pretty good.
Jerk.